It is the first week of March 2024. It's early in the morning. I just woke up. In this video, I'd like to get into everything that I did in January and February of this year so far. If I accomplish my goals, what my goals are going forward, what the script is like so far, what the storyboarding is like, what panels I like, what panels I don't like, and what I may have to redo going forward. Yeah, we're just gonna have a little chat about what the process has been like so far this year. I will be doing these videos monthly, but since this is the first one of its kind, it's both January and February. Starting 2024, my goal was to finish 6 pages of my book every single month, and so far that has been accomplished. Technically, I think I did one extra, but that's because I had to redo one already. I did not like it. 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I have 12 pages so far. So here's the first one that I redid, and in either March or April we're gonna redo this one again. But this is definitely better than what I had. So sometimes when I redo things and I try and salvage parts of the page that I like, I will cut things out that I liked from the first, and I will just I don't know if you can see that, but I will sort of copy and paste, collage things in. This whole piece is collaged, and this whole piece is collaged in from the back. I just I painted this, and then I cut out a little window for this to be pasted in. The reason that I'm going to redo this again is because this is going to be the first page of the book. I'm not completely satisfied with it, and I would like to be, so that we might see in April getting redone. Okay. I don't think I'll ever get to a place where I won't want to redo something that I've done, especially because I'm always learning, and each new page is me trying something new, so I want to allow myself that lenience. About once a month, I may redo a page. So it'll be, moving forward, it'll be a goal of 6 panels a month, redos included. These pages here, I had started in 2021. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5 pages that I have from a few years ago, and I still really like this one, and I like the idea of it. I like this sort of movie-like entrance into a scene, and then it gets kind of trippy, and then it goes to this train. So I'm keeping this for now, but I'm not counting it, because in the future I may end up using these almost as storyboards to redo them and work with them a little bit more. Okay, but so far, starting from here, I have 12 pages. So we're gonna go through them and talk about them a little bit. What's this here? Oh yeah, when I have an idea for something or for a way that I'd like to redo something, I just put a sticky note so that it doesn't damage the piece. We are in a train. If you're from Boston or you've ever lived in Cambridge, Braintree Alewife is the red line of the MBTA. So this starts on the MBTA, where I spent a lot of my high school days. So page 2. I did this in November of last year. Still gonna count it though. This is from an MBTA subway tunnel. One of the ideas that I'm setting up in this panel right away is I would like this book to really work with the natural world and the mechanical world and technology, and maybe not technology how it is today, but technology how it was when I was in high school. I'm gonna have my iPod Classic pictured in it, headphones, that sort of thing. I want a lot of buildings, Boston, you know, and trains, but mixed with the natural world and having them combined together. That is what I'm establishing here in this page. My first book was set in the present, and now this is going back into the past, into 2009, 2010 territory. So that's why some of the things are a bit older. The technology shows that, and it's going to be more of a high school memoir. The text says, I've always dreamt of hidden things, so it was only a matter of time. until I began to search for them. And I've got some song lyrics here. I think I'd like to integrate a lot of song lyrics in this one. Okay, this one says, there was always a flicker of movement, and then it has some song lyrics. This is one of my favorites that I've done so far this year. I'm really happy with it. I think it's very gentle, but kind of eerie still, and yeah, we've got the headphones, the hoodie, all the high school stuff. If you have been in Cambridge, you know this is the Salt and Pepper Bridge. I forget what it's actually called, but we locals call it the Salt and Pepper Bridge. I just started doing this little trippy cloud thing. I think it was a mistake, but I ended up using this sort of like the lights of the building disappearing inside the clouds. I started using that more throughout, and I want to keep doing that. I really like this one. And it says, every night I could feel it. All right. Okay, this one says, something was there, resting, breathing, and I loved it. If you have been on the Red Line and you've crossed over the bridge to Charles MGH station, then you know, if you turn and look behind you, there's just this gorgeous view of the skyline over the Charles River, and I've always loved it so much. So that's what this is representing. So here is the iffy one. This took a long time, like all the little details of the city lights and stuff did take a long time. And I do generally like it, but something about it to me just feels a little off and feels like not exactly what I was going for. If you look here, I used water after I had already painted like this sort of thing. I used water over this, since this is liquid watercolor, kind of pick up the paint and move it around a bit to make it look more like cloudy and trippy and just like a more interesting texture. So what I plan on doing first to fix this, or to try and make it more interesting to me, is I think I'll do that effect on these buildings here and see what that does for the piece. Because right now I think it's a little too busy for me, and I don't know, I can't describe it. It just, when I feel like there's something off, there's just something off. So I'm gonna try and fix that in March. Okay. Oops. Let me actually go ahead and make a note of that. Redo. So I'm going to rework. I've wanted to dissolve. Another reason I want this to be really good is because it says, I really like this line and I want to highlight it in a really good page. It reads, I've wanted to dissolve into everything I've ever loved. Okay. This one, I like this one. It's nice and clean. So this is pulling into the station. It says, I was a child in the city. I had no body. And just a red line pulling up. And then the door opens and there's a little shadow here. Okay. This one reads, only a shadow, anonymous and free. This stairwell does not exist in the MBTA as far as I know. But when I was looking for reference photos of the T, it just didn't look as interesting, and so I chose to do this sort of spirally stair and then have the buildings and the moon and everything up there. Sometimes when I work on things, it can be hours and hours before I look at it and I think this could actually be good. And this was one of those. I'm so happy with it. I love it. And the clouds were actually a mistake. I think I spilled some ink or something, but I really like this crisp outline of the fire escapes and the alleyway things, and then the clouds being this nebulous thing. If you are going around Newbury Street, this is an actual alleyway. Boston has a bunch of these public alleyways that are parallel to the streets, and you can walk down them. They go into the backs of restaurants and the backs of shops and stuff, and people park their cars, but I've always found them really interesting, and I used to walk around looking for places to get onto the roof. Okay. So now we've got a close-up of the alleyway, and it says, no eyes on me except the gaze of something that sat in the corner of my own mind. And this was a lot of fun. I really didn't know if it was going to turn out well, but I am happy with it. I don't know what this building is called, this like clock tower thing, but I find it lovely. It's very Boston to me. I feel like when I look out at the Boston or the Cambridge skyline, there's always some little thing with a dome. Okay, and it was important to me to integrate a lot of Boston and Cambridge imagery into this, something that was real. I wanted the setting to be a magical departure from realism, but I also wanted realistic elements in there to ground it, and also ground it in my true experience, which is being a kid walking around Boston, taking the Red Line, and through the sort of surreal elements, I get to explore and portray and give value to how magical it was for me at the time and how much freedom I gained from exploring the city like that. So that's why I'm doing that. Okay, so next page. This is sort of a run-on sentence. The last thing read, "No eyes on me except the gaze of something that sat in the corner of my own mind." And this one says, "With its hands folded, waiting as if it was prepared to wait forever." So I've got an eye getting closer up, and inside the eye you see a little hand. This was inspired by something I saw on Pinterest of like a sea monster, like a little tiny submarine coming up, and its flashbulb illuminating these hands in the darkness. The text came first, and that is what inspired the hands folded, because the hands folded in the eye, because I was just trying to visually describe the line that I liked. Okay, so that is 12, and this is, here we go. This is something that I did in 2021. Javier had this idea where this is a fire escape ladder, and he said, "I like the brick, but it could be more interesting behind. Why don't you put some graffiti?" Which is something that I did previously. So something like this. What I'm gonna do when I redo this page is I'll keep this, and then I'm going to have maybe like a dumpster just to give some reference that we're still in the alley, still with the little brick, but with graffiti behind the alley. I'm gonna put that little sticky to remind me. And that's what I have so far for the month of January and February. So let's take a look at my script now. This is a working document of my ideas for each volume in the series that I'm working on, and then the script of each volume that I'm constantly working on, except for volume 1 because it's done. But it just has some notes on the references that I'm using and certain things I don't want to forget. So this little part in blue here is sort of a poetic summary for myself to remind myself of what is going to happen. I have some quotes that to me speak to what I'm trying to represent in this volume. From here until here, all of this highlighted is the script to what you just saw. So this is all done. It was inevitable. I've always dreamt of hidden things, so it was only a matter of time until I began to search for them, blah, blah, blah. In the little blue highlighted text, this is where I put my simple notes on where the character is going to be, what might be happening. A lot of it is just question marks, like I'm not sure, but this is what comes to mind right now. So I changed a lot, but it helps me jot down little inspirations here and there when I'm reading it. This is how I know what I'm going to be working on moving forward. So for March, I actually already finished. I was searching for things I'd never seen before. This was a page that I finished yesterday, so you'll see it in the March recap. What I'd really like to do is integrate this outline of a castle that I used in volume 1 to signify the feeling and what this exploration meant to me as a kid. It felt like power and aloneness and oneness at the same time. In the first volume, the castle image was used to signify the feeling I was expecting to find when I reached my inner world. It was then juxtaposed with what I actually found, which was a bunch of ruins. I found no castle. And so what I'd really like to speak to in this volume is the extreme and beautiful expansiveness that I felt as I was experiencing these things as a kid, and what it meant to me, what it felt like, and also how this castle that I'm looking for in the present day is something that I just naturally had and communed with as I was just alone as a kid, exploring the world and feeding my inner world in a way that made it into a castle, or preserved the castle that it already was, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be integrating that castle there. This is all the text that I'll probably cover. I was searching for things I'd never seen before, but when I found them, they were more familiar than my own face. Into these things I wanted to disappear. I don't know why I was created. I had a world I belonged to. I didn't question how it was built or why. I just believed it would always remain as it was. That is what I'm going to aim to finish in March. We'll see that in next month's video. Okay. Something that I would like to start doing a bit more is storyboarding again, because a lot of the time lately I've been jotting down my ideas and jotting down like sort of storyboards or just little visual ideas. Like for example, this is the hands and the eyes. I've been doing it on random scraps of paper and little post-it notes. And if I'm gonna do that, then I would at least like to start pasting it into my sketchbook so that I have a compiled record of these things. These are like a few of the storyboards that I've done so far for January and February. Some of them I followed to the T. I was a child in the city, I had no body. Some of them I ended up doing a little differently, but that's fine. This really helps me just warm up in a way. Start figuring out how I'm going to picture things and how I'm going to visualize things. So it is a big help, and it's also just fun to look back on. So that's something that I'd like to improve on in the month of March. By the end of the year, if I keep this pace, then I will be over halfway done with this second book, which would be wonderful. A lot more than halfway done. I might even be like 2/3 of the way done. So that would be really cool. And I hope I keep it up. I'm definitely going to take into consideration these little notes. Okay, I need to write more storyboards so that I can improve going forward and just keep on track, and also not overburden myself in terms of my goals and what I tangibly want to produce, because that always zaps my creativity. So I want to go easy on myself, but I also want to just find better ways of bringing my ideas out in a way that is fun and energizing and does create tangible things, because I do want to put out this book. I just don't want to do it in a way that feels forced. So doing these sorts of reflections each month, it does really help me. Thank you for joining in this time, and I hope that it was an interesting process to take a look at, and we will find out in the March recap if I met my goals or if I did not. Either way, I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to enjoy this process because I am very lucky to have a project that I care so much about and that I get so much inspiration about all the time. It's very important for me to nurture my creative practice and be an open channel more and more for ideas that come in, because it is so much fun to receive an idea and then to carry it out. Even if I have to fiddle with it, even if I have to redo it, it's still so much fun and such a satisfying process. So overall, my goals for the month of March, besides just getting 6 panels done, I would like to be more in the flow of things and have more intentional time to storyboard and brainstorm and just be in that world a bit more, because the past month I haven't been turning towards it as much as I would like to. So those are my overall goals. Like I said, very grateful to be working on this project. It's so much fun and very magical for me, and I really appreciate you being here and watching the process with me. That makes it even more fun. So I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great day.